From AccuWeather.com, this is AccuWeather Daily, a brief host-read article. It's weather news in a nutshell. Well, the world's oceans have reached their highest average surface temperature on record, months after temperatures typically reach their annual peak, as a strengthening El Niño adds heat to already unusually warm waters. The average sea surface temperature across the extrapolar oceans reached 21.1 degrees Celsius on August 22nd. That's according to the Copernicus Climate Change Service. That narrowly surpassed the previous record of 21.09 Celsius set in March of 2024. The Copernicus analysis covers ocean waters between 60 degrees north and 60 degrees south, excluding polar regions. Its data set extends back to 1979, when satellite observations became more reliable. AccuWeather lead hurricane expert Alex De Silva said El Niño was in place during the fall of 2023, contributing to the warm oceans in both 2023 and 2024. The timing of the record is especially unusual. Global ocean temperatures generally reach their highest point in March or April, following summer in the southern hemisphere. De Silva said that typically March and August are when the world's oceans are at their warmest. As a result, while the waters could continue to warm for the next week or so, it is unlikely that records will continue to be set through September. Depending on how strong El Niño gets this fall, we could break the world's sea surface temperature again next March, when temperatures rise again. Now, this is when 2024 broke the record. It was in March at the end of an El Niño. European Union's space program climate strategic lead Samantha Burgess said the number of marine heatwave days globally has more than tripled since the early 90s, putting a strain on marine ecosystems and coastal communities. She said that this record is another clear signal of an ocean under growing stress. El Niño is adding heat to the system, but it is doing so on top of decades of human-driven warming. As ocean temperatures continue to rise, the risks to marine ecosystems and coastal communities also increase. El Niño occurs when water in the central and eastern tropical Pacific becomes warmer than historical averages, triggering changes in the atmosphere that could shift weather patterns around the world. El Niño is strengthening, and AccuWeather experts are highly confident this year's El Niño could become the strongest in a lifetime. AccuWeather's lead long-range forecaster, Paul Pastelok, said for people across North America, the ocean temperature record itself is only part of the story. What we're watching closely is how all of this ocean warmth interacts with a strengthening El Niño. That combination can have important implications for the intensity of storms, storm tracks, temperatures, and precipitation patterns across the continent in the months ahead. Warmer ocean water increases evaporation and adds moisture to the atmosphere. At the same time, El Niño can alter the jet stream, influencing where storms travel and where heavier rain or snow may fall. During a typical El Niño, the storm track becomes more active across the southern U.S., from California and the Southwest to the Gulf Coast and Southeast. Those regions can experience more opportunities for precipitation, along with longer stretches of cloudy weather across portions of the southern and eastern states during the colder months. El Niño can also favor warmer than historical average conditions across parts of the northern U.S. and southern Canada. But shifts in the jet stream can still allow episodes of cold weather. Warm oceans do not guarantee more storms, but they can give storms more moisture to work with. The location and intensity of the jet stream and storm track will ultimately determine where that moisture goes and the rate that it falls. That's why the evolution of El Niño will be so important for North America this fall and winter. The competing influences of El Niño and ocean warmth will also be closely monitored during the remainder of the Atlantic hurricane season. Near record warm Atlantic waters can provide tropical systems with additional energy, but El Niño often increases disruptive wind shear across portions of the basin, making it more difficult for some storms to develop and strengthen. Beyond its influence on weather, persistent ocean warmth raises the risk of marine heat waves, coral bleaching, and disruptions to fisheries and other marine ecosystems. Warmer water also contributes to sea level rise through thermal expansion and can hold less dissolved carbon dioxide, potentially weakening one of the planet's most important buffers against climate change. As the world mourns the loss of Dolly Parton, who died on Tuesday at the age of 80, we reflect on how the weather influenced many of her songs, helping the country legend tell stories of tragedy, renewal, and the beauty of her Tennessee mountain home. There's Big Wind, recorded for her 1969 album, My Blue Ridge Mountain Boy. The song follows a farming family as a violent windstorm approaches, turning severe weather into a story about sacrifice and the unpredictability of life. A gentler side of nature appears in Early Morning Breeze, which Parton wrote and first released in 1971, with the song describing a peaceful walk through a meadow filled with sunshine, dew, wildflowers, and a meadowlark. Parton later recorded the song several more times, including for her 1974 album, Jolene. Perhaps her best-known weather-inspired title is Light of a Clear Blue Morning. Parton wrote the song in 1976 during a period of personal and professional change, using clearing skies as a metaphor for renewed hope. She released a new version in January of this year, with Miley Cyrus, Reba McEntire, Lainey Wilson, and Queen Latifah to celebrate her 80th birthday. Net proceeds benefited pediatric cancer research. Rain, sunshine, and the changing seasons also appear throughout Parton's catalog in songs including Steady as the Rain, We'll Sing in the Sunshine, and Each Season Changes You. Parton took the imagery in a darker direction with World on Fire, the lead single from her 2023 rock album, Rockstar. The song primarily addresses political division, greed, and unrest, but its burning world imagery has also been interpreted as a reference to climate anxiety. Now, Parton has not explicitly labeled it a climate change anthem, though. Parton's connection to weather extends beyond her music. After the devastating 2016 Gatlinburg wildfires, her My People Fund distributed $12.5 million to roughly 900 affected families. She later supported recovery from Tennessee's deadly 2021 flash floods and donated $1 million after Hurricane Helene caused catastrophic flooding in East Tennessee in 2024. Her Dollywood businesses and foundation pledged an additional $1 million toward Helene relief. Whether she was looking toward a clear blue morning or helping families recover from disaster, Dolly Parton spent decades reminding listeners that storms do not have to have the final word. That's all for now. You can find regional forecasts and science-based articles at AccuWeather.com. And you can stay weather aware with the free AccuWeather app. Enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe. I'll be back tomorrow with more from AccuWeather.